So for this video, because it's in depth with a lot of the sewing that I have to do, I have it pointing towards the camera. I mean towards the sewing machine. So in this video, we are going to talk about overcasting our seams, okay, and how to put on our bias tape. Okay, so here is the bodice. Okay, here's the bodice, and all of our side seams, our shoulder seams are sewn, and our side seams are sewn. Okay, I'm going to turn this out, and I'm going to show you how I do my overcast stitch. Okay, so on here, what I do is I trim it to about 1/4 inch. Okay, you guys can't quite see that. Let me move this over just a little bit. I'm going to trim it to 1/4 inch. Okay, so there's that 1/4 inch seam. Now I'm going to show you how you would do it normally on a on your sewing machine. I'm going to show you how we do it normal. What I do is I usually I put it about a 4 for my stitch length, a stitch width. Then I change it to a number 3. On my machine, a number 3 is a zigzag, and then I like to reduce the stitch length to be shorter. Okay, I'm going to show you how you would normally do it without any special tools or anything like that. Okay, and to show you how it looks. So I am lining mine up so that I'm lining up the seam with where it's first going to fall, and then it's going to move over and come back. Okay, and see how that looks. It's not bad. It doesn't look all that bad. Looks pretty good, not too bad. But for me, I prefer it to look more like an actual serger. See that? And that's the back of it. And that is accomplished by getting this foot right here. This is called an overcast foot. It's got this little metal plate here that helps you when you do your zigzags, and it kind of loops it in. It does the same thing that a serger does, just with one thread instead of multiple ones. So just take it off and replace it. Okay, now for this, I like to have my stitch width at a 5, and then the stitch length stays the same, number 3 stays the same. Okay, I'm going to show you what it looks like now when I do it with that foot. It's the same premise. Now with this metal bar here, okay, I'm lining up the metal bar right against the side of my fabric. Okay, and essentially what it's doing is taking it and looping that thread. It's looping that thread so that it loops over and makes it look like this. That's a lot more consistent to what a serger would do than the regular zigzag stitch that we did up here. It's kind of knotted, it's kind of rimply. See how it kind of waves and stuff. It doesn't do as well as this one here. See, much better. So I like this one personally a little bit better. Okay, so for this, now we're going to move on to our bias. Okay, so pick one of your bias tapes that you have. I think that's gonna be, that's an armhole one, I think. Yep. There's 3 different lengths, so this is the longest one right here. Okay, so this is my longest one. I'm just going to cut off this salvage edge here. If I can move my hands. Okay, just cut it off. Okay, what you're going to do is with one side, you're going to start and you're going to place it. I like to do this just so I know where it begins and ends and I don't have a big gap. What you're going to do is you're going to place it on your fabric. So we're going to do the neckline first. Okay, I'm going to put it right to the edge of the fabric. Okay, if you wanted to, you could also do it a little further down and use your stitch line that you did your stay stitch as a guide. I personally like to just match it up, and I say that because this stitch is going to be seen, so you just rip it out. So it's just a basting stitch, so it doesn't do anything. So make sure you change your settings back to number 2. I'm going to change that back to a 3. Now I'm going to change this back to 2.5 because that means it's the middle for me. Change my foot. I like to make sure my threads are going back. Okay, so now I'm just going to line those two up, and you're putting the pretty side. You're putting the bias tape on the pretty side. This is the wrong side. See, that's where the overcast edge is. That's where the seam is. And I'm going to put it on the pretty side. Okay, you can overlap it a little bit if you'd like to. Okay, just take it and put it right underneath the presser foot, and then put the fabric up underneath the presser foot. Okay, it's not wanting to act right for me right now because it's all slippery. It's all slippery. So if it's like really slipping and wanting to act up, just get a clip and put it on a clip for right now. Okay, or you could do a pin. I just had a clip right here close to me. Line it up, put my presser foot down. Okay, and I'm going to actually move my needle position over a little closer to 1/4 inch. And this helps me not to do as much trimming and things like that at the end. Okay, so with the needle down position, this bias tape is going to stay straight. You are going to just move your fabric as needed without pulling. Do not pull your fabric, do not pull your bias tape. Okay, it all happens by itself. So see this little section here straight, that's what I'm going to do first. I stop, make sure my needle is down. I readjust my fabric and my bias. Okay, needle down, make sure I readjust anything that I need to. It should be a pretty straightforward seam at this point because it's not a real big dip or anything. I just want to make sure I'm catching all 3 layers. And I say 3 layers because it's 2 layers for the bias because it's on the fold and 1 layer for the fabric, for the bodice. Okay? So a lot of times people will tell you to pin. You can pin if you would like to. I find that it becomes more constrictive and I poke myself and stab myself more. I just do small chunks. As you can see, I stop and I adjust. I keep my finger down as a pin, okay? And then I readjust every so often. I just make sure that I'm feeling all the layers of the fabric. So I'm going to keep doing that till I get to this end, okay? A lot of people ask me, where am I looking? I'm looking at the side of the presser foot against the side of this bias tape, which is also aligned with the back of the fabric. Okay? So here's the back of the fabric. Okay, this was our original stitch. That was at the stay stitch, just to make sure that we didn't have any stretching on our neckline. Okay, we could take that out in a minute, but right now what you want to do is you want to fold this down, okay, like that, and then you're going to fold it down again. Okay, this is what it's going to end up looking like. Okay, just like that. Stay down and then down. Okay, that's how you're going to have it look. So what you do is you take it to your iron. Move this over just a second. Move over my iron. Okay. and you're just going to take it, press it, and then press it again. So you're pressing it one direction. Now again, if you need to use a pressing cloth, go ahead and use that. Mine's on a very low temp. And then press it down again. What you're looking to have is that all these raw edges are covered up by the bias tape. Like that. All the way down. Okay, I'm not going to show you how to press, but you just keep doing it all the way to the other side. Once you've done that, then you get this. I've already pressed it. See, all my raw edges are down, and on this one, all I gotta do is just tack it down and hold it down. Now here you can get yourself some clips if you'd like to, and clip it down. If you would like to, you could just kind of do a couple clips and go all the way around. I'm not gonna do that. It just gets in my way. Pins, clips, they all get in my way sometimes. But what I am gonna show you now is how I take this and I fold it down. I'm gonna start at this end. I'm gonna fold it down, and then I'm gonna sew from the top side. I'm gonna sew through all these layers, catching from the front, catching through the back, going right through there and catching the side of that bias tape. Okay? I'm gonna put it right at the edge of my presser foot where the fabric's gonna go. I'm gonna move over my needle just a little bit because I know how wide my bias tape is. Okay, and then start stitching. Okay, all I'm doing is making sure it stays nice and flat and that that bias tape is up underneath the bodice. Okay, just keep doing that. Keep tucking it in. Now this string line here might get a little annoying for you a little bit, so you can go ahead and take that out before you start this process. Tacking it down. It doesn't really bother me right now. I'm gonna do my cleanup here in a minute. I just wanted to get you guys to see what we do. So see how I'm doing this? It actually curves like this, so I'm just kind of leaving it kind of at the curve and slowly bringing in the fabric where it needs to go. I don't want to distort my neckline. Woo, I went off. Okay. I went off a little bit. That's okay. See, I went off a little bit. I started going, woo, I went off a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start back up here, back stitch a little bit, and then keep going. And then I'll take those other little stitches out when I take the other stitches out. See? You can always mess. Those are little boobies, but there's always a way to fix it up. Okay, again. Okay. Keep it nice and tucked in. It's going through a lot of bulk right now. And this isn't my big machine. This is my, I guess, my everyday kind of. This is the one I teach my classes on, is this machine here. Very beginner friendly model. I've come to like the brothers when it comes to entry level beginner friendly kind of sewing machines. It's less intimidating. Okay, so trim off all your threads. Okay, and then there's your neckline. Okay. There's your neckline. This stitch here will come out. Oops. Sorry. Bumped the camera. This stitch here will come out. Okay, so you just pull on that and it comes out. Just every so often, just pull on it. And this is the one that comes out. See? Okay. See, and that's how it will look when you take off that stitch line. Okay, so that's the neckline. Now I'm going to show you how to do the armhole on the other one because I have a sleeve going into this one. So on this one over here with the armhole, it's the same idea, but I like to start from the side seam down here down here at the side seam, I like to start up a little bit in the back. Not exactly where this seam is, because that's really bulky. I said right about here is where I start my bias binding. Okay, again, it's on the fold. Get yourself a good start line. Okay, I leave a little bit of a tail open so I can connect those two pieces together. I'll show you how we're going to do that. So on your sewing machine, you should be able to have this thing that comes out and it becomes a fray arm. Okay, so you put your armhole in like this. Okay, so it's like putting a sock under your foot. Like pretend this is your foot and this is a sock. You're putting it in. Okay. Line this up, line that up, needle down, make sure everything is good. Okay, good. Okay. And again, you just want to keep it as straight as possible. Take it and readjust and move. Take it, readjust and move. The armhole is a little trickier because it is a bigger curve than the neckline. So you just have to just keep making sure you line up all these three pieces. Okay? Line up all those three pieces. And when it gets through bulk, it sometimes wants to wiggle on you, so you just have to keep hold on it. Just show it who's the boss. It's like, I'm the boss. Okay. Now we're coming back up to the beginning of the tab. So what I like to do is just do a little bit and keep my needle down in my fabric. Okay. So here is what I like to do. I like to take this piece here, trim off some of it. Again, make sure it's not too much. So see how when this here ends and that starts, it's just a little bit of an overlap right there. I now take this piece, I fold it into itself. See that? Like it gives you a clean edge. And we're going to put this one right onto this one. So we're going to go ahead and measure that. See how far off to go. I just measured down, make sure it goes into the fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and take that down, fold it. Okay. And I'm just going to pinch it really good and finger press that. Okay. You could take this off the machine and iron it and stuff, but I'm just showing you how I do it. Put this down over it. So this one goes over that one. So you have all four pieces in there. Okay, and so. It is a little bulky. You're going to want to bulk it a little bit, but that's okay. Lift it up, take it out. That's our seam. See how it looks nice and clean there? So what you're going to do now is do the same thing you did with the with your neckline. Okay, the same thing you did with your neckline. You're going to tuck it in, you're going to tuck it over, and then you're going to stitch it down. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how I do it. I just take it, I make sure it's covering. I'm moving over my needle position because this tape down here I can feel is a little wider than what I had on the other side, and go. Keep going. Little bit by little bit. So if you see how I'm kind of pulling and tucking all at the same time, okay, pulling and tucking at the same time, making sure it's nice and flat, going under my presser foot before it gets to the needle. Again, nice and tucked under. Okay. Nice and tucked under. And just keep doing that. And so you have this this free arm right here. It helps so much. Because a lot of the industrial machines don't have the free arm. You have to do it with another specialty machine. Industrial, not home machines. There are some out there that are semi-industrial that are awesome. I'm looking to save up for one of those. That's going to be my splurge. Okay, so keep on going. We're coming back to the back. We're connecting, and we ran over it a little bit, so we kind of keep that stitch in. Snip off our threads. And there's our armhole. So that's a little piece of lint. But there's our armhole. See that? Nice and pretty, nice and good and consistent. If you didn't want it as wide and you wanted it closer to you could have. I just know that my bias tape was pretty wide, so I wanted to make sure I really got it. See how I did right there, and I catched it all. Here's a little bit bulky where we attached the seams together. But I just wanted to make sure I had make sure I got it at the end of it. If you did an inch bias tape, then it would have been a little smaller. You could have gotten a little closer. But for starting off, that's not so bad for a beginner. Okay? So you as a beginner, that's great. You're going to iron this down and it's going to stay nice and flat. Okay. So that is installing your, finishing your side seams with an overlock stitch and putting on your bias binding on your armhole and your neckline. So on my next video, I'm going to show you how we are going to insert a sleeve into this. And here's my sleeve. Okay, I told you it's just a gathered sleeve that we're going to put in there. So it looks nice and just, it looks prettier, I think, with the sleeve than without a sleeve. So that's just my opinion, but we'll, I'll show you how to do that. It's going to be a ruffled sleeve that's going to go in there. So I'm going to show you how to do that on our next video. So if you like this, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.